sometimes it can feel really lonely. That's another thing I didn't mention. People are feeling very alone because even though Zoom is great, social media is a good tool, it's not the same as physical connection. And we all need that. I feel like we were all like, you know, born with that need of physical connection.
All right, we're out. Yeah. Just talk a little mess. But let's go ahead and bring my big little sister on here. What? Oh, there she go.
Mhm.
What it going on? How you living today, Mrs. Wesley?
I'm doing good today. Today is a good day. I'm
Nice.
glad to be here.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So first off, are we your first podcast appearance? And
I think so.
let's go.
Um, I think so. Woo! Y'all
First,
have
first
my
of
period.
many.
Yay.
Okay. First of many right here. But for the folks that don't know, if you don't mind giving a who you are, your profession, and who is Anisa the Friend.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Anisa, aka my Instagram handle, Anisa the Friend. I'm a woman. I'm a social worker. I'm a therapist. I'm, you know, just a person who's out here trying to encourage others and, do the things that God put on my heart. So
Mm,
that's a little bit about
love
me.
it. Yeah, love it. We gonna get into some more stuff for sure. But I think what something that you've been really adamant about for years now is mental health, right? And we see that in your profession as a therapist. We see that in your Instagram posts. They're very soothing. I don't know if that's the right
Mhm.
word, but they're usually pouring into folks when it comes to mental health and self love. So as a professional, whatever you're allowed to share, as a professional, what are some of the mental health trends that you're just seeing out there in the world with everything going on today?
Right now, there's a lot of grief, like just grieving, whether it's a death, whether it's like a loss or a transition, like losing a job or something like that, where it's just like people need help with being able to adjust to like a new life. A lot of anxiety, a lot of depression right now. And, right now I'm seeing kind of like both sides of the spectrum because as a therapist, I see both adults and adolescents. And then as a psychiatric social worker at, at a school district, I see a lot of what the children like from ages even 5 to like 17, 18 are going through. And it's a pretty similar trend. A lot of people are just over like, being cooped up in the house, Zoom, or just even like the mask, like it's just something that people are getting a little bit weary about. So a lot of that is going on right now is what I'm seeing mostly.
Yeah. So what would be your general, not this is not a professional's opinion per se. I want to put you on the spot and have people be like, well, the professional said this, but in just
Right.
your opinion, people are adjusting to Zoom as they're trying to, deal with their oppression and anxiety. What are just a few tangible things that they can do to, kind of self mediate some of those things?
Well, I think one of the main things is to be gentle with yourself. And that's really something I'm practicing too. Like, I don't tell any of my clients or anybody anything that I don't already do. So, but, just being gentle with yourself, taking those breaks when needed, like being someone that works at home, I have to like schedule breaks. And even if it's just 2 minutes to breathe, like, all right, I'm done with this meeting. Let me just breathe really quick and get in touch with myself. I think that's important. And then remembering that, like, you're not alone, like literally the whole world, if not the whole country, is dealing with similar things. So, holding on to that, because sometimes it can feel really lonely. That's another thing I didn't mention. People are feeling very alone because even though Zoom is great, social media is a good tool, it's not the same as physical connection. And we all need that. I feel like we were all like, you know, born with that need of physical connection. So, um, if people can get together with people if they feel comfortable, I would suggest that too, like filling your like social cup, so to speak. Um, but because I mean, you can still do phone calls and text and everything, but there's nothing like getting together in person when it's safe. So
Right.
yeah.
So two quick things. A random one is I think one of the good things possibly about being in this digital space is you can use all types of cool backgrounds and manifest your future. So shout out to that background we were talking
Yes.
about earlier. Put your dream house in the background, put your dream vacation in the background, and really just live in that environment and manifest that for you. I think that's dope. Number two, a blessing. Me and the queen have talked about this, but I want to get your opinion. Being able to get and be married before pandemic, or be in a committed relationship and have your best friend in the house, have your road dog in the house, and yeah, you're trapped in the house, or you can't go many places, but you have someone, right? And you're able to still get that physical connection. Can you talk just about? I know you're semi newly married, Mrs. Wesley in the building. You know what I'm talking about. Talk a little about just the experience of being married in a pandemic.
Whew, that's a big one.
Mm,
I feel like it's our normal, if that makes sense, because we haven't known anything else as a married couple. Of course, when we were dating and everything, things were a lot different. But, just being married in the pandemic, you either have to know that you know that you know that you with the right person, because spending extended amount of times with someone, you have to at least like them, right? So I'm like, well, I guess we did good in getting to know each other and, like building that foundation of a bond that is deeper than just, like attraction or whatever. So I don't know. I think it also kind of like I'm thinking. I was just telling Iron today. I was like, I feel like I want to do something else, like a vow renewal in a few years or something, because I feel like even though we had a wedding, you guys were there, but I feel like we were missing something, and I don't know what that was, but it was like it was just different, So I don't know when that's gonna be, but I just think that making sure that we knew each other was the most.
Listen, I know you were spitting hot fire,
Hot
Anissa.
fire.
I felt it. I heard it. People out there heard it. We're gonna bring you back in a second because your audio was kind of going a little bit in and out. But anyone who's watching live or watching on the replay, go ahead and let us know what was your experience within the pandemic, and what are some of the practical things that you were able to do to kind of mediate your experience, right? Whatever it was, whether it was anxiety, it was depression, feeling cooped up, feeling like you need to interact with more people. What are some of the ways? I know for me, I was on YouTube listening to podcasts and kind of just with my headphones on or in the car, and that made me feel like I was in kind of a group, right? In a room full of people talking, and that kind of gave me a little bit of the social cues in there. But Queen, how about you? Anything in particular before we try to bring Anissa back on?
Yeah, definitely. I think I did try like a podcast specifically with like a group of women.
Mm,
And I listened to that one, and it's like, no, you don't actively get to participate in the conversation, but you're thinking about how you would respond in that situation. So it's almost like you're having a conversation, and you do kind of, in a way, it's not the same, but you do in a way feel like you're with them, like, oh, y'all are just having a conversation. So that was helpful. And I think, and I'll probably say this again when we get Anissa back, but I think one good thing too is, even if you all have, you are lucky to have someone who you really vibe with in the same house. I think still having some time to yourselves is also important. So like when at least before you would go play basketball with your friends and your family, I think having even just a walk, like, sometimes we like to take walks together, but every now and then I'll get up and I'll take a walk by myself just to have just some time to myself.
Yeah, she'd be like, I'm out. I'm like, well, where you going? Gone.
Doses. Just have a little bit of time to myself. And even when we do work together, I think having the separate spaces is nice. Just because you can easily come and knock on the door whenever you want and say hi or whatever. But it is nice to also have a little bit of time to yourself. So in whatever way you can, even if it's just stepping outside in the backyard or going on a walk around the block, important to get that time to yourself as well.
100%. Great nugget, Queen. All right, let's see if we can bring Anissa back on to continue to drop some gems. There she is. Welcome back, Miss Wesley.
Hello.
Let's do a mic test. How's that audio feeling?
I don't know.
You're
How's it
still over
sound?
there talking to ETIC.
Talking to a robot.
So the question that I want to give to you is, how do you stay consistent with your goals? Right, that is something that we want to talk about and really dive into today, as we talk about marathon mentality, as we talk about walking as being a great tool and resource, a way of burning fat, visceral fat.
I see.
I'm paying attention sometimes. Oh, can you talk to us a little bit about maybe a goal that you either currently have or that you had, and how you were able to fight past all the barriers and stay consistent to achieve that goal, Anissa?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Can you hear me now? Can you? Oh, hello.
We can hear you a little bit. It is still a little robotic, a little bit, but we're going to try to rock with you. If you do have multiple devices on your Wi-Fi, highly suggest you take those devices off. Fun fact, right? If you're out there, you're zooming, you're doing your thing, you have a few kids out there, you have your phone, you have your tablet, you have your TV, you have your computer, you have all those devices connected to one Wi-Fi, it's going to slow down your Wi-Fi across all the devices, right? So take off a few. That way, the one that you're focusing on can really have the best speed. And that translates to what we're talking about today, because sometimes we have 5, 6, 7, 8 goals.
Right.
All those goals, all those things you're trying to accomplish are attached to you. You're the Wi-Fi, right? You're the Wi-Fi. Each goal is a device. And the more devices that you attach to yourself, the lower the bandwidth is going to each of these goals, right? So how can you make sure that if you're the Wi-Fi, you're the plug, you're the energy, you have as few devices connect to you as possible, as focused as possible? That way you can achieve your goals and have the fastest speeds. Okay.
I feel like the way to think about it is that you have a finite amount of energy, that you can give each day. And although there are ways to kind of recharge, still in a given day, you have a set amount of energy that you're going to be able to give. So whatever you are working on is going to divide that amount of energy, depending on your amount of projects. So if you have 5 things you're working on today, then you're basically able to give 20% to each of those things, right? And I feel like in the world of like motivation, we like to say like, oh, you give 100% to each thing. It's like, that's nice. It's not possible. It's really not physically possible to give 100% to 5 different things, right? So think about like, okay, if I have 3 things to do today, think about like the amount of energy you have. You have about a third of your energy to go towards each of those, right? Is that going to be, and sometimes that's enough, right? If I'm just doing like an Instagram post, I don't need that much energy to go towards that. But right, if it's a day where I know we got a podcast, then I need to make sure I'm not going to put a webinar on that day. because I know my social energy, and I'm gonna be on this podcast like,
What he said.
yeah, word. Because I know myself, right? So I think it's just a matter of really being strategic about how you plan out each day and how you divide up your energy for the different tasks that you have going on.
So I don't know who came up with this formal term, but it's called the Law of Diminishing Returns. Right? And that literally says that the more things that you're committed to, and this is for investments, this is for your goals, this is for like the more things that you're committed to, the less return you're going to get from each thing and overall, right? The law of diminishing returns. And this is really something I'm focusing on this year. It's very difficult, Queen. I'm gonna let you know right now.
I know.
Jair, it is very difficult, but I'm working through it this year to see how can I get more focused and where my energy is going? How can I partner with more people? How can I delegate more so that the overall returns are better?
Thank you for tuning in to the True Health Forever podcast. We hope you learned something valuable that you can take and implement into your life. Now, we've all heard that sharing is caring, and this podcast is no exception. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, a family member, a coworker, a stranger walking down the street, anybody who you think can level up from this message. As always, we appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you next week. Be well.